President Uhuru Kenyatta into active politics with some of the pronouncements that he made. One of them giving a warning to members of the Jubilee Party to go slow on some of the harsh words that they were using against opponents. And for the first time, he mentioned the former deputy president by name. I don't think, in my recollection, I had the former president mention Rigathi Gachagua any time. And just how consequential is this? Does it leave him now open to political missiles from both sides, including from President William Ruto? What does it mean for the political dynamics of this country to have Uhuru Kenyatta back in that position?
To start with, it means that he is enjoying his rights as a Kenyan. I saw people citing the Retirement Benefits Act for the president and saying he's supposed to retire. And I always remind them that, number one, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And any act of parliament that contradicts the Constitution then becomes unconstitutional to the extent of its contradiction. If you look at President Barack Obama, the day he left office, he came back 4 years later and campaigned actively around the whole of the United States for Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. He was enjoying his rights. He continued to have state protection. He continued to have state security. And by the way, remember this time round, he was campaigning at a time when Trump was president, and he was president on from the not the Democrats, the Republican side. So he was campaigning against the government of the day. Mm-hmm. But he was allowed to campaign. Hakunyang'anywa security, the nonsense we hear here. Hakuambiwa hatapewa benefits, the nonsense that we are hearing here. He campaigned actively against a candidate that was the incumbent head of state. Trump would become a one-term president, like someone I know is about to become a one-term president. So Trump became a one-term president that time, and Joe Biden took over for 4 years. When Joe Biden was done, it was time for Kamala Harris. President Barack Obama came out again, and he campaigned properly against, he campaigned properly for Kamala Harris. And Trump was vying that time. That's when he secured his second term. All I'm trying to say is that if we are going to establish ourselves as a democracy, we must learn from developed democracies. You cannot have some funny legislators I saw the other day shouting at Uhuru Kenyatta and telling him to shut up and retire. You're telling him to shut up and retire as who? He has his constitutional rights. Nobody told Obama to shut up and retire. Obama went throughout the United States of America and he campaigned for the candidate of his choice, and he was respected. Na hakunyang'anywa security, na hakutumiwa small demagogues to insult him for having offered himself to campaign for the candidate of his choice. That is the kind of democracy we are looking for. Number two, he speaks about Rigathi Gachagua, which I think is a good thing. And I wish our good friend Kawajiko had come. Let us give him the benefit of doubt for having not been here. But there's something I would have told him, but I'll tell him because I know he might be watching, that Uhuru Kenyatta is showing direction. He's saying, look at William Ruto. William Ruto is actually looking for Gideon Moi. He's bringing him to State House. He's shaking his hand. He's saying, let us work together. Because when those two unite, we get Singapore. But when 2-3 Kikuyus unite, you're told it's tribalism. So he's telling, and that's the message I wanted to pass to Kawanjiko, you cannot be the person who is seen to fight the people from your own region. In fact, if anything, I wish Kawanjiko had allowed himself to become the person who says, President, I will fight members of the United Opposition, but don't tell me to fight people from my own community, because you are shaking hands with people from your own community. So what Uhuru Kenyatta is telling people is that we all have to work together. The politics of insulting one another will not take us anywhere. Mm-hmm. By the way, I want Kenyans to look at Fanya Mambo Kinuthia and all my clips, and there are very many. I have never called the president the names I hear people calling him. I've had people call him Kasongo. I've had nicknames that have been given to the deputy president. I don't know Soprano, I don't know Sophia. I have never called them those names, but I call out their governance. I call out their leadership. In fact, I can sit on this TV and call out all the programs about the president that I think are not doing well. But calling him names, personal attacks on him, is wrong. And I think this is what Nani is saying. This is what Uhuru Kenyatta is saying. That come and say what you don't like about Rigathi Gachagua's leadership and the things he's saying. But let us not have personal attacks. If, for example, I have him here and I start giving him names, it means I have lost the agenda and I'm now insulting him. I need to fight with him as the MP for Soy, yes, and tell him as MP for Soy, I have a problem with bursary, I have a problem with this, I have a problem with this, and fight him on issues. That's why me as Fanya Mambo Kinuthia, Mungu anisaidie, nimalize hii miaka 2 bila kuita President Kasongo, because I don't think I have a problem with William Ruto. I have a problem with his presidency.
Could we be overplaying the fact that he pronounced the name Gachagua in that? He could have mentioned any other name, including the president, because there have been insults directed at all these politicians.
Specifically, he mentioned the name Gachagua for a reason. The message he's trying to pass is that he knows that Gachagua commands a good following within the region. Mm-hmm. It is no use fighting Rigathi Gachagua. Our common enemies are known. And it's not even the president himself. It is SHA, it is primary education, it is capitation to school, it is these bursaries that are being given kiholela holela, it is the loans that we are taking carelessly. Our enemies are known, and those are the enemies we are fighting against.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bwana Kiplagat, of course, as Fanya Mambo said, he quoted some members of parliament